Are you ready to have an insanely productive day tomorrow? You might have said the same thing yesterday, or even the day before, but let's be honest. Planning for productivity requires some work, because all it takes is the sound of a text message or a listicle to get you off track. In order to get everything done that you want to get done, you have to set yourself up for minimal distractions, optimal focus, and a day that you can feel proud of. So, tip number 1 to planning a productive day is to set up your space. The environment where you do your work contributes to your mental focus possibly more than any other factor. Your environment is a big factor. Because of this, it's important to choose or create a space that gives you the right vibes for productivity. I know it sounds a little weird, but if you work from home, designate an area solely for working. And if you're limited to just your bedroom, make sure to create a separate space or a corner that keeps you out of your bed and awake. If you want to head out of the house, consider a co-working space or a cafe. And maybe you want a free place to work outside of the house. Well, check out my favorite place to get Wi-Fi and find peace and quiet for free, the library. Libraries nowadays are wildly underrated and make for great spaces to have a cup of coffee and check off a couple items off your to-do list. Before we continue, if you want more specifics on setting up your environment to help boost your own productivity, Patricia has a great course on Skillshare titled How to Boost Your Productivity in 10 Steps, and one of them is about specifically engineering the perfect workspace. I highly recommend taking it, and you can actually get 2 months free of Skillshare with a link in the description, but I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Let's move on to number 2, set up your to-do list. Are you ready to enjoy the sweet feeling of crossing items off your to-do list? It's one of my favorite things to do. Well, that's great, but first, you have to set up your to-do list. So grab a notebook or open a file that allows you to physically see and organize the task that you have for the next day. And this is because you should set up your to-do list the night before. Write down all of the things that you want to do. Us, as humans, we are goal-oriented machines. We get feelings of gratification not when we actually accomplish something, but in the process of pursuing that accomplishment. So once you've made a full list, reevaluate each individual task. Is it important? Is it urgent? Does it contribute to your overall goals and vision for the week or the month or even the year? Also, don't be afraid to narrow down your to-do list. A lot of people put like 50 things down when really they could put just 5 things down. Focus on those 5 and like at least 30 of the others would come super easy. If it helps you to schedule a week at a time, you can go ahead for it. I recommend putting a handful of tasks in different days of the calendar and just rearranging them as necessary. Actually, this is why a lot of people prefer to use a computer to initially figure out their to-do list, because on a computer you can rearrange your tasks each day, each week, of just dragging and dropping them instead of crossing them out or even erasing them. Step number 3 is to set up a schedule. So now you have a plan for what you want to do tomorrow. Now the question is, when do you want to accomplish each task? Create a schedule for yourself that will help you move your day along and give each task the attention that it needs. So here's some little tips to setting up your schedule. Number 1 is to wake up before everybody else. Now I know I say this a lot in my videos, but really consider when you're hitting the hay tonight and plan to wake up after a full night's rest. A full 8 hours of sleep will truly allow you to stay alert and focused right when you wake up. So, a lot of people ask me, when is the best time to get up? Give yourself a time when you'd like to start your morning, and then get up an hour or 2 beforehand. If you have distracting roommates, or you know that you'll hit rush hour traffic at a certain point in the morning, choose a time that works around these factors. You should be mindful of them. If your roommates get up at 9 and they like to have a chat when they make breakfast, maybe consider starting work at 7 and then catch up to them when you're ready for your first break. Another little tip is to schedule with rhythm. See, one thing you need to know about productivity is that breaks are not bad. In fact, scheduling them right can help you prevent from burning out too quickly. When you create your schedule, consider scheduling quick 15-minute or even 30-minute breaks to refocus. These short little breaks can also be time that you give yourself to set up a new space for a new task or even get from A to B. Also, something else you should know is that everyone operates on a 24-hour cycle with times of high energy and times of low energy, and we call this a circadian rhythm. Consider when you feel most tired and reserve that time for low energy tasks like things that are monotonous or tedious or even taking a nap. Once you have the entire day figured out in your schedule, you won't feel so guilty about taking a snooze. Something else that's really important in psychology when setting up your productive schedule is finding the right balance between a tight deadline and setting yourself up for success. So there's an old adage that says, work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. Most people probably know this as Parkinson's law. It basically means if you give yourself an hour for a task, you will get that task done in an hour, even if that task could be completed in half an hour. On the other hand, if you give yourself an hour for a a task that would originally take an hour and a half to complete, you might be setting yourself up to fail. Now, this might require some trial and error, and you really gotta be self-aware about how much work you can actually do, but when you create a schedule, give yourself a time where you can comfortably complete a task and give yourself a few minutes to refocus and reset. For me, I like to dedicate an hour or a half-hour block to specific tasks. If a task could take me 45 minutes, I like to round that up and give myself an hour for it. And then it also gives me an opportunity for a short break. This type of attitude for your productivity allows you to take breaks, emergencies, or even take small distractions into account while still moving your day along and getting stuff done. I hope you enjoyed this short little video on the very basics of increasing your productivity, and if you want to learn more, I highly recommend this course that I just took from Skillshare. Patricia has a great mini course on 10 steps to improving your productivity. Now, I know you've probably heard of Skillshare before, but if you haven't, they sent me a link for you to sign up and try them out for 2 months absolutely free. I highly recommend taking advantage of this amazing opportunity, especially if you intend on doing some research into your own productivity. Because not only that, Skillshare is an online platform with tons of other video courses on topics like increasing your creativity, mastering your mindset, cultivating healthy and meaningful relationships, and even other technical stuff like setting up DSLR cameras, filmmaking, and graphic design. I personally love them, and they're honestly my favorite sponsor. So you should go ahead and check them out in the link below. And it gets even better because their annual cost is less than $10 per month. But again, there's a link below to sign up for free for 2 months. Thank you guys so much for watching, and good luck with your efficiency.